Hello, everyone. Welcome to Super Podcast Action Committee, episode 143. Andrew Eisen, under the weather, but here. And with me is E. Zachary Knight. Hi, Zachary.
Hello. I've got some killer allergies today, too. I went to a place that had cats and hay, and so that was kind of a double whammy. And then I mowed my yard today, so triple whammy there. So probably not in as bad shape as you, though.
Oh, no. No, it's empty. I just used the last one. Crap. Damn it.
Oh,
that happened at work on Friday, too.
nice.
Shoot. All right. So, yeah, I have bacterial throat infection just, pardon, in a Thursday night, which knocks out my immune system. And we had a rainstorm here in southern San Diego. It's Thursday night. Pardon. And, what was I saying? Oh, so the allergies go haywire. My sinuses say, get creative and make colorful mucus balls and store them in my lungs. So, and of course, I'm doing the 30 Days of Netflix thing right now, where every day I watch a new movie and talk about it on camera, which means that, one, it's hard for me to pay attention to a movie when I've got a headache, and it's hard for me to enjoy stuff when I'm in a really bad mood. So you might notice Andrew doesn't like anything series of entries in that video. I thought it would be funny to watch. Someone mentioned antivirus, and I said you should watch it because they heard I was sick. You should watch Antivirus. And I said, "Ooh, how about Contagion? I've never seen that." And unfortunately, it's not on Netflix. So I watched a movie called Contracted, which is about a woman who contracts some form of STD that makes her rot and her bits fall off. And I thought, well, that should make me feel better. Unfortunately, the movie was, maybe it's just me being in a bad mood, but I didn't think the movie was very good at all. I didn't like any of the characters.
Yeah.
And that's unfortunate. But let's see, someone just mentioned, STL Creator says, uh-oh, somebody's sick. Yeah, you can tell from my voice. And Matthew says, apparently I like Jem a lot. Yeah, if you saw day 10, I think, of my 30 Days of Netflix, I watched the first 5 episodes of Jem on the Holograms, TV show from the 80s. Loved it. I have very eclectic taste. I'll give anything a shot, but I wasn't really expecting much. I was more curious because I knew there was a movie coming out, and so I watched the first 5 episodes, and I loved it. I thought it was an absolute blast, and I ended up laughing so hard describing the show that I ended up with the tears streaming down my face. And as it happened, not like 3 days after I did that episode, the trailer for the forthcoming movie premiered. I was like, oh, all right, cool. So let's see what they're doing with it. And well, now I have absolutely no interest in seeing the live action film version of Jem and the Holograms, because it appears to be Jem in name only. Again, it's someone who bought a property and doesn't know or doesn't care anything about it. So the Misfits don't appear to be there. Synergy doesn't seem to be there. There's a offhanded reference to it, I guess, but there's no holograms in Jem and the Holograms. Jerrica doesn't actually own the Starlight Foundation. I don't think she owns the kids' foster home orphanage thing either. I mean, I don't really care that Rio doesn't have purple hair. Rio must have purple hair, and it must be out like that. No, apparently it's just Jerrica is a musician, but she's very shy, so she throws on a wig, records a video. Her sister throws it on YouTube. It becomes a viral success, and then the Starlight Foundation, which is run by Juliette Lewis, I think, who's playing the bad guy Eric role, recruits her as Jem and her friends as the Holograms, but then she gets a taste of the high life, and oh, only Jem is important, and your friends don't matter, and no, my friends really do matter. We're not a band if we're not all together. And I think Zachary just dropped out because he's tired of listening to me talk about Jem and the Holograms. So let me re-invite him. Hang on a second. So anyway, while we wait for Zachary to come back, STL creator says the computer's not handling tonight's stream too well for some reason. Let me check the feed here. Well, it's still going. And Matthew says the trailer looks bad. Yeah, it looks really generic. It looks Jem is anything is anything but generic. I mean, I don't know how you could. I just don't understand who they're making that movie for, because you make a Jem and the Holograms movie and you make it like that, and you're just going to end up. Here comes Zachary. I think he's coming back. Come on, Zachary, you can do it. Anyway, I don't know who you'd make it for, because you just end up alienating all of the Jem fan base, and everyone else doesn't care and still doesn't care. So I'm not sure what their plan is, or maybe the trailer is just wholly misrepresentative of the show, of the movie in general, which has happened. So it looks like Zachary's having technical problems. So I saw the trailer for the Supergirl TV show, and there were two of them. There was one that's like 6 minutes. There was one later that was about 2 minutes, and I wasn't really feeling it. It's a bit too career girl trying to make it in the big city and find love. I'm not sure who wants that in their Supergirl TV show, but there's a lot in it I like, but there were a lot of elements that just made me go, ugh. But, maybe in context it'll work just fine. Zachary is still not working. Let's see. And he just dropped out again. So what else happened this week? Seems to me there was there's Legends of Tomorrow, which is the Arrow, Flash, Hawk Girl, Captain Cold for some reason, Firestorm, White Canary. So they're making kind of a mini Justice League TV show, and that looks like it could be kind of cool. It looks like the promo was cut together from existing footage. I don't think they've gone into production on that show yet, but it looks like they might be striking a nice tone with that. So that could be fun. I haven't watched any of the CW shows though. Yeah, Matthew says regarding Jem, they're making it for tweens. That's who, and that's fine. But tweens probably aren't going to care about Jem and the Holograms. So why bother making it Jem and the Holograms? Why waste money on the license if you can just make generic teeny bopper band movie and it's going to do the same business? That way you don't have a bunch of pissed off fans. On the other hand, I guess a bunch of pissed off fans do create attention, which may get some eyeballs on it and say, well, I don't know who Jem is, but I know I like tweeny bopper stuff, so maybe that's the plan. I don't know. I do apologize that there was no poll this week. Still having problems. I think it's my user account that's screwing up, because some of the plugins aren't working for me. I had to, one of the articles I wrote this week, I had to have James actually create a dummy article for me to fill out, because every time I tried to upload an image, the whole thing crashed. And there's Zachary.
Sorry about that. My computer decided to freeze up, and I had to restart.
That's all right. It happens.
Yeah.
So I was talking about the Jem trailer, the Supergirl TV trailer, the Legends of Tomorrow trailer.
Yeah.
You have opinions on any of those?
Well, with the release of the Supergirl trailer, everybody everybody made the connection between. I don't know if you saw the
The
Saturday Night
SNL
Live
thing.
skit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. They Saturday Night Live did the Black Widow movie trailer,
Yep.
and it was basically a chick flick with Black Widow in it, and and that's essentially what the first 60% of the Supergirl trailer was.
Hmm. Now,
So
the similarities are funny. Um, and I think where some people are, crying sexism, and I think some people are going a little bit overboard, saying
yeah,
that there's nothing wrong with this type of show. I'm like, I don't think the issue is that there's a problem with the generic career girl trying to make it on her own in the big city and find love type of film, which is fine. There's nothing wrong with that type of film. I saw Devil Wears Prada. I thought it was okay. I watched it without walking away or groaning. It was fine. Um, so there's nothing wrong with that type of film. The joke, I think, is this is not what anyone wants to see in a Black Widow movie.
yeah,
No one wants to see Devil Wears Prada in a Black Widow movie. They want to see James Bond or Jason Bourne or something like that.
something like
They want
that.
an
Yeah.
action espionage movie. Um, yes, Matthew, we'll get to Konami here in
Yeah,
a bit.
I think it works better for a Supergirl movie because she is a superhero trying to maintain a secret identity that's not going to out her superhero-ness.
Yeah.
And so yeah, it works. It works on that level with her. And it's the same thing with Superman. You got Superman and then Clark Kent. The klutzy, nervous, geeky guy versus
Yeah.
the all-powerful superhero.
Yeah, they seem to be going almost a Richard Donner approach with her putting on a bubbly, goofy personality.
Yeah.
It was really not the setup that bothered me so much as the tangible details, the real specific things we saw that just made me roll my eyes real hard. The whole thing with her getting coffee for her boss and it's not hot enough. I'm like, for crying out loud, really? The fact that she completely can't remember her name because she gets so flustered in the hotness that is James. Don't call me Jimmy Olsen. I'm like, really? Come on. She has a guy at work who admires her that she's oblivious to, and it's like, what I've found particularly irritating is this guy. They're on a rooftop, and he flat out is asking her. He's like, "Would you like to go out with me to a movie tonight?" And she says, "Oh, I can't. I've got a date." I'm like, "You can't possibly be that oblivious. You're either stupid or you are one of the meanest people I have ever seen. That's mean, Supergirl. It's just mean."
Yeah.
And then she's like, "I'm Supergirl," and he says, "No, you're not." And so she back dives off the building, scares the hell out of him, and then flies back to the roof. I'm like, you just needed to hover a foot off the ground. You didn't have to scare that. Man, Kara is mean.
Yeah.
But some of the there were a lot of things that I liked.
Some of the things I liked, I liked that she had fun with her powers when
Yes.
she got into that whole I'm a superhero thing and dressed up in the costume and everything, and she actually had fun with the powers.
Yeah.
That was a cool thing. That's something you don't see a lot in especially in the movies. It's like
Yeah, she's like, "Holy crap, I can fly. This is as awesome as you think it is." There's a part where she says, "I can fly, I can lift a bus, I can, I'm invulnerable to bullets." I think. I did not buy the fact that she's 24 and has never tried flying. If you know you have superpowers, by the time you're 24, you would have figured out whether you can fly. I'm not buying that.
In the Richard Donner Superman, I don't think he flew until he was adult. Like in the entire sequence when he was a kid to a teenager, he never flew. It wasn't until he was adult Superman that he actually flew in the movie.
True, but I'm like, she would have figured out pretty conclusively that if she would have said, "I can't fly, I just can't figure it out," and then the need to fly is
Well, and then
what
you've got
that
the
would have worked.
Smallville thing where Superman didn't fly until like the last couple of episodes of the
Smallville
entire
sucked.
show. But
I
yeah,
didn't like Smallville.
I haven't watched a whole lot of
Yeah,
Smallville
but
either.
I'll tell you what I really did like. I like the fact that I like the scene where, because she mentions she's, I don't believe she's never tried flying, but I believe she's never been shot before, so she'd be a little bit. I'm sure I'm invulnerable, but I've never been shot, so I don't know if bullets bounce off. So she's stopping a bank robbery, and she's like, "Oh shoot!" And they start shooting at her. She's like, "Oh, I am invulnerable. Oh, good." That I like. That so
Yeah,
there's a lot of stuff I did quite like. Mm. So
yeah,
yeah,
and then you've got the Legends of Tomorrow trailer, and
which yeah,
and which didn't have a whole lot of content, but they did reveal a few things that everybody's been asking about because the Sarah Lance, she's the White Canary in it.
okay.
She actually died in Arrow in the second season, or was it the early in the third season? I'm trying to
Oh well,
remember.
okay.
But
Spoilers, I guess.
but she actually dies, and then she's back somehow in this show, and everybody's
Well,
like, okay, is she like?
Lazarus pits or
Yeah,
something.
that's what it was. She gets
Oh,
revived in the Lazarus pit. That's
okay.
what the trailer revealed, and so that's something.
Oh, I thought she was just kind of in a pool or something. I didn't realize that was supposed to be a
That
Lazarus
was the
pit.
Lazarus pit,
Okay, it looked like water to me. All right.
well, yeah, the Lazarus pit looks like water. It's
Oh,
basically a hot springs
yeah.
in
All
Nepal
right, all right.
or
It's a
whatever.
TV show. Fine.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, so they had her, and I'm a little confused about the exchanges with the Atom and
Firestorm.
Firestorm. Yeah, her Firestorm. Because he's like one of the things that's a problem is the other half of the Firestorm character is actually he's moved on to another TV show, I think, and so
The
I don't know
actor or
how.
the
Yeah, the
character?
actor,
Oh,
and he's got a contract with another show, and so he can't be Firestorm. So it's going to be interesting to see how they do the alter ego Firestorm thing because they've got what's his name? I can't remember his name now. I just remember him from Alias, the spy TV show.
mm-hmm.
But yeah, so it looks like it could be a fun
Looks like
show.
it. Yeah, it looks like it has some potential.
Yeah,
So
and it's only
both
going to
of
be a
them,
13
really.
episode run, so it's going to be kind of like Agent Carter was during the Marvel's
Well,
Agents
Carter,
of
I think,
Shield.
was 8 episodes.
Yeah, Carter was 8, but I think they're actually going to do 13 episodes on
Okay.
Carter next year. So
Cool.
but yeah,
All right. So
fun stuff there.
we did not have a poll this week because, as I mentioned earlier, I think it might be my user account, and our tech guy is part time, so that's a little slow going. But hopefully, we'll have a poll next.
Well, I tried messing with the poll, and I got the exact same thing.
Oh,
So
so you're getting it too? Okay,
yeah.
I'll let Michael know. Oh, pardon me. So let us talk about the most vile, most evil publisher out there. The one that is now going to give EA a run for its money as worst company in America if the company were in America, and that is Konami, publisher of such fine games as Castlevania. Um, and
Do they publish
Castlevania
anything
2.
else?
Um,
The old Silent Hill.
oh, Silent, blasphemous, but I think Silent Hill is grossly overrated. I think the Silent Hill games actually range from not bad, okay, to crap.
Yeah.
I think Silent Hill 1 and 2 are generic and just okay. 3's okay.
Yeah.
Or I'm sorry, what was the one on the Wii? Shattered Memories was interesting, but overall doesn't quite work. There's a lot of really interesting things in them. I don't think they come together, but
Yeah.
that's not important. So Konami seems to be trying really hard to be hateful in the last couple of weeks. So it started
hated.
trying to be hated, yeah.
Yeah.
So it started a couple of weeks ago with people started noticing that Kojima, his name and Kojima Productions were being taken off of the Silent Hills teaser thing and the Metal Gear Solid 5 game. And people are like, uh-oh, is there trouble a brewing? Apparently so. Uh, and then so Kojima seems to be gone. And then PT, which was that playable trailer for Silent Hills, was made unavailable, then taken off of the servers, so that if you did download it, you can't re-download it if you've deleted or buy a new PS4. And apparently, there are rumors going around or there are rumors going around that apparently, um, if you have the PT demo, it fails a license check and kills access to all of your downloaded games. Um, so that may not be something. If that's true, that may not be. That may just be a side effect of how the whole system works. But um,
Yeah.
so what else is Konami doing? There was
Um,
something else.
well,
Oh,
they,
so
they they took, somebody was reporting on
everybody.
the whole Kojima thing, and they made this 8 minute long video about using information that they got from an unnamed source, and whose information they were somewhat able to verify due to other reports in the industry, in the media, and then that video, a couple weeks after it went up, was hit with a copyright claim and taken down, and then like a week later, it was brought back up because Konami either pulled the original claim, or apparently they did something wrong with their original claim, and so YouTube says, well, they didn't do this right, so your video's back up.
yeah.
Yeah. Crazy situations. But
Uh,
so what's
yeah.
your take on all this?
The Konami's being stupid. I don't know. I'm not sure what Konami hopes to. I mean, this is some of the most uh, tone deaf actions I have seen a company do in a while.
Yeah.
Because Konami is just making its. I mean, EA must be like, oh man, we look good this week. No one's talking about us. Activision,
Yeah.
Ubisoft, they're all sitting back and hey, wow, we could do something really obnoxious and probably no one would know. Um, and
They
I
probably
yeah,
did, and we don't know because
because we've
nobody was
been
talking about it.
exactly we've been concentrating on Konami.
Yeah.
Because what's weird is when EA does something, you can kind of, although EA did fire a bunch of people from Visceral, we were talking about this a few months ago, so maybe Visceral is going to be the next EA company to be shuttered. Um, Stay tuned. But
Yeah.
yeah, so that happened this week, but that was kind of swept under the rug a little bit because of the Konami stuff. Um, but when EA does something, you know why they do it because
Yeah.
it's control, it's greed, it's money, it's things like that. Konami, I have no earthly clue what the hell they hope to accomplish with any of this.
Yeah, I know. Matthew corrects me. He says that the video came back up just later that day. So after, says about 11 hours of being down. So yeah. So, but still, that's insane. And I can't tell for sure if this was a DMCA or just a copyright or content ID claim. I don't know for sure because just the screenshot here doesn't give me that information. But if it was a DMCA, this was a purely bad faith DMCA notice. I watched somebody else had re-uploaded the video, a copy of the video somewhere else, and I watched the video and I was like, okay, let's see what they could have possibly claimed, and there were clips from Metal Gear Solid 5 and the Silent Hill PT, on the video, but those were there in context. They were talking about the games or Kojima, and so really I couldn't see anything there. And then there was like a 15-second clip of some Konami promotional video from their website. But again, they were talking about it there. They were talking about that specific clip or what the clip was talking about, and so it's just like, there was zero there was nothing in this video that wasn't fair use,
Yeah.
and so Konami, if they issued a DMCA notice, they did so blatantly ignoring fair use, and which I
No
could.
consequences for doing so. So
Yeah, there's zero consequences. Somebody had mentioned that this was a federal crime, and I was like, no, it's not.
uh,
But still, it's just I don't know if Japan has as strong a fair use protection as the United States does. So that might have been part of it, but still, it's fair use. It was news reporting, and commentary and stuff. So there was nothing infringing about it. And to be honest, I don't see anybody watching that video in order to watch a Metal Gear Solid or PT trailer either.
yeah.
That makes absolutely zero sense. But yeah, but I'm glad it came back up, and I'm glad YouTube actually took some action on it, because YouTube usually takes a pretty hands-off approach to DMCA and content ID claims. They just kind of they act as the middleman to just kind of pass information back and forth. But this was one of the rare times where they actually said, "Oh man, this was really bad. We better fix this right away." So,
Yeah. So
Viper, if you've got that press release, go ahead and send that our way. That'd be
yeah,
great.
I heard about that. Viper's talking about Konami's president stated that they want to aggressively go after the mobile market.
Oh
Although
man.
you don't have to piss off everyone in the console space to do that. Yeah, I mean Nintendo's aggressively going after the mobile market too, but it's still doing console and handheld stuff. It's they're not mutually exclusive businesses.
Yeah.
Um, I I just don't really understand. I mean, even Guillermo del Toro is like, "What the hell, guys?"
Yeah.
Guillermo del Toro being the would-be director of the Silent Hills game, or
Hmm.
co-director, or something like that.
Yeah. But going back to the problem with the PT demos, if that's really what's happening, and we haven't had any verification as far as I'm aware, but I could definitely see this being a problem with Sony's DRM system. Where they use their DRM checks to make sure that you actually purchased the game, or it was a legally available demo or whatever, and then if they can't detect that properly, they'll lock you down. And I could see that happening. That if Konami completely erased every trace of the PT demo from the PlayStation Network, then yeah, it would come up as an illegal game, a pirated game of some sort. But still, I think that's probably a really dumb move on Sony's part to not take in a situation like this into account.
Yeah.
Because publishers are always taking down games and stuff. But yeah, it's a really stupid move, and I think if it's actually happening, Sony needs to fix it, and if it's not happening, then I guess we're okay.
Yeah. So, Kaganeka-sama and also someone over on YouTube, Mark Cloud, hello, um, mentioned the Kickstarter for Bloodstained, which is a spiritual sequel to Castlevania. It's
Does it have
but
anybody on the project who actually worked on Castlevania? I haven't done a lot of research into
oh
it.
sure, what's his face, Koji Igarashi,
Yeah.
who apparently is the namesake of the Igavania style games, which I swear is something that was made up with this Kickstarter. I have never in my life heard anyone ever refer to anything as an Igavania style game.
I could see why they that he would have done that, because you don't want to, if he wants to focus keep keep the focus of the project on the Castlevania series rather than the Metroid series combined with the Castlevania series. And
That,
then there's also the fact that if this isn't if this isn't a lot like Symphony of the Night and more like Super Castlevania, then going Egavania would be a better idea.
well,
So,
I get the term Igavania. It's to talk about because there's so many different types of Castlevania games. The franchise
yeah,
has been around for 30 years. So saying Igavania, you're like, oh, those type of Castlevania games like Symphony of the Night. That's fine.
yeah.
But it's not coming to Wii U, so who cares? Uh, for anyone
Yeah,
wondering, it's a
I'm not.
PC, PS4, and Xbox One.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of the Castlevania series. I love Symphony of the Night just because it was so different from all the other Castlevania games I ever played. But but the core Castlevania series just doesn't do anything for me. It's just
Uh,
not the kind of games I like to play.
yeah,
I
I
think the
admire
only
them.
other one I ever completed was a Castlevania game for the Game Boy, the original Game Boy.
Hmm.
Um, so
Yeah,
and that was the one with Sophie or Sophia.
yeah.
I forget who, but yeah, it was one of the female characters. So, and it was a good game.
I
Yeah,
played
but
the one on the 64, Castlevania 64,
oh yeah,
which it's got great music.
yeah.
It's funny that game.
Is it 3D like third
Yeah,
person
yeah,
or
yes, it is. That game gets dumped on a lot. It's not good, but it's nowhere near as bad as a lot of people make it out to be.
yeah?
As far as the Bloodstained Kickstarter, hey, I'm all for
Hey,
more. Yeah,
yeah, people
I'm
like it. It's made a lot of money so far, and it looks
yeah
like it's going to raise a couple million more.
the art is pretty. I'm bummed out that they're not far enough along to show any actual prototype footage or anything like that. But
Yeah. Was
uh,
the ukulele one? Did that show?
yeah, it did. It showed some prototype footage. I mean, it's what they've been able to get up and running in Unity. I think after about 3 months, which is pretty
Yeah,
damn impressive. It looks pretty good. Um, Viper says there may be a stretch goal for Wii U. There may be.
yeah.
So, all right, let us move on to another topic. Oh
All
man,
right.
let's see. Oh yes, so Microsoft. So there was a leak a while back on a new Gears of War game or a Gears of War remake that was apparently leaked by people who were testing the game. So Microsoft says, "Oh no, you didn't," and banned the Xbox Live accounts of these testers, which has the consequence of preventing them from playing anything online. They did release an update. They released a statement clarifying that they can still play games offline. So they didn't brick the Xbox One.
Yeah, but
But
if they purchased any downloadable games, those downloadable games are unplayable because you have to have an internet connection in order to play them. Yeah, which kind of sucks.
well,
Especially because Microsoft is trying to move towards a primarily downloaded system. But,
yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah.
too far.
I think so. I think completely banning them from Xbox Live, I think, was going too far. I could see banning them from whatever testing service they were using, like QA service they were part of.
Yeah.
Banning them on for the foreseeable future. I think that is good enough. I don't think taking away their entire online ability is really the right way to go about this. I think that might be going too far with this. What do you think?
I'm undecided. I think it might be going too far, but then again, I also have no sympathy for these jerks. It's like, don't do that. I know it's hard. even being a nobody like me, I am occasionally privy to some information that I am not at liberty to disclose, and it's hard because
Yeah, yeah. I
it's
remember it took you like, you were playing Hyrule Warriors for like 2 weeks before you could actually talk about it.
yeah, 2 or 3 weeks. Yeah,
Yeah, so
I mean that's a light example of what I'm talking about. I mean, you want to talk about the game because you have it early, and not it's like, oh my gosh, I'm playing a game like 3 weeks early. It's so cool, and there's all this neat stuff in it. And you want to talk about it because you are a fan. You love video games, and you want to share that joy and that experience, but you don't because that's what you
yeah.
those are the conditions under which you are playing this game early or have received this information early.
Yeah. Well, and I read a lot of on IO9 they do their morning spoilers, and they always they're always talking about interviews with stars of like comic book movies and stuff, and when they do those interviews, you can tell that the people like Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans, they want to talk about the movie they're starring in, but they're like, but I can't. I'm under contract and I can't talk about it. This is all they'd allow me to say, and and so they know how tough it is. I don't think I've ever been in a situation where it's like I've gotten something like this early. I could tell you with 100% surety that I've never been in this situation before. But still, I can certainly understand, them being blackballed from this sort of stuff in the future.
Yeah.
But I think banning them completely from Xbox Live is just, I think that's
too
just a
far.
little too much.
Yeah.
But STL Creator and a bunch of other people are mentioning that they can buy a new Xbox One, get a new Xbox Live account, but they're going to lose all their friends lists. They're going to lose all their trophy or achievements. They're going to lose their the games that they've purchased on Xbox Marketplace and everything. So it's a really, really tough thing when that happens. And I don't see any reason for that to have to happen.
Kaganeka-sama asks, weren't the original Wii consoles blocked completely when playing pirated games? I think not quite, if I'm remembering correctly. I think there was an application called the Freeloader, which would allow you to get past the region lock, but it would also open up the system to piracy. And I think a subsequent, Nintendo every time they update the firmware, they address programs like Freeloader and things like that.
Yeah.
And I think one of the updates conflicted with Freeloader so hard that it did end up bricking a few systems. I think, if this was like 10 years ago, so I may be wrong about that, but that sounds like something that happened.
Yeah, it's definitely possible. Yeah.
Okay, so let us move on to another topic.
Okay.
And that is Blizzard banned about 100,000 World of Warcraft accounts for using bots. And apparently the most common bot was the Honor Buddy bot, which plays the game for you, I guess.
That's typically what bots do.
Yeah.
Is they play the game for you. You basically give it a series of commands to perform, and it performs those for you. And usually it's done, to grind out your game, your character. When you're like, okay, I need to gain 10 levels so I can go and do the next side quest. Mm-hmm. Well, let me turn on the bot and go and kill orcs or whatever for 10 hours straight, and it does that. It just kills them as they spawn and does that. and they can get a little more sophisticated than that too, but that's basically the gist of it. Is they're grinding tools.
STL Creator says, as one thing he doesn't like about the Nintendo Network ID system. If the Wii U or 3DS commits suicide, he loses system's history forever. You should be able to. Yes, it. I do agree. It is not as easy as simply getting another unit, logging into your account, and re-downloading everything. Uh, it's not that it isn't. It's not that it isn't recoverable. You can call Nintendo customer service, and you should be able to get all your stuff reinstated. But yeah, it's not as easy as it should be. Although uh,
Yeah.
word is Nintendo will be moving in that direction with subsequent systems.
Hopefully, yeah.
So anyway, back to Honor Buddy bots. I had an Honor Buddy bot back when I was a kid. It was called my mom. I'd go to school and my mom would grind in Dragon Warrior for me. So I don't really understand bots too much. I guess because I don't understand World of Warcraft too much. The game bores the hell out of me, and I look at people using bots. I'm like, the game. If it's not fun to play, why would you get a program to get to play the game for you if it's not fun
Well,
enough to play?
the problem is the game is fun to play, but not fun to grind. You know,
Yeah.
it's fun to go on the quests. It's fun to fight the epic bosses. It's fun to go on group raids, but it's not fun to just sit there and play for 10 hours straight just to gain levels. That's not fun.
Yeah, the
And-
game's not fun. That's what I said.
And so people do this, and to me it makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
I played when I was a kid, I loved playing Dragon Warrior, and and play it, and I beat all four of the NES Dragon Warriors. But the thing is I go back and play them, and I'm like, screw this. I stick that thing in my Game Genie, put on a cheat code to give me extra experience when I beat battles, and then I just, I'll spend like the first 3 hours playing the game just leveling up so that I could just run through the game without having to grind at any point in the future. And because the game's just not, it's not fun to grind, but I like the stories. I like fighting the monsters and everything, and I do the same thing with other games too. And it's just, that, if the game wants me to grind, I'm not going to be happy about it.
I guess if we had a Hepler mode, you could just skip all that crap and enjoy the game in the way you want. Watch the story.
I don't know. I like fighting the bosses. I like fighting the monsters on the way to the bosses, but I just don't like being forced to just walk around in circles fighting monsters for 4 hours so that I can get to a boss.
Yeah. I think that's pretty bad game balance. If you have a good RPG, you don't have to grind. A good RPG, you should, when you get, when you're at point A and your goal is to get to point B, you should be ready to do whatever you have to do. As long as you're not running from every encounter, you should naturally garner enough experience points to reach the appropriate level to defeat the boss without running in circles outside the dungeon for 10 hours.
Yeah, and there's a lot of games that are like that, but still a lot of RPGs, you'll naturally get from point A to point B in say an hour, but then once you get to point B, you still have to grind for another hour or two before you can actually finish it, beat that boss. And yeah, that's a poorly designed game there. Other like Zaboid Games, they when they make their RPGs, they've designed their RPGs so that you can just click one button in the menu and you instantly get in a battle, and then after a while, after a certain number of battles, the dungeon's clear of monsters and you can just explore the dungeons. But then outside of the dungeons, you can just infinitely fight monsters if you wanted to grind. But but they also have the random encounters too, but they just know that a lot of people don't like random encounters, and so they would like to be able to clear out dungeons in order to just explore. Breath of Fire 2 for the Super Nintendo actually had a similar system, but a lot of areas you couldn't clear out dungeons like that. But I remember there was this one point between the first town and the town you build as you play the game. There was a mountain pass, and eventually, like, a quarter of the way through the game, that mountain pass is clear of all monsters, and so it's like, an easy walk between the two cities. But yeah, but going back to this, grind sucks, and MMOs are notorious for their grind, and so that's why there's a market for bots, and I guess that's why Blizzard doesn't want you using them, because they want you to be sitting at your computer grinding rather than having somebody else grind for you.
That's why Monster Hunter is awesome, because that's a game that's, I suppose, about the grind, but the grind is just nothing but boss battles. So it ends up being kind of awesome. It's like, oh no, I've got to fight Devil Joe again. Oh well. Who doesn't love Devil Joe?
But I guess this doesn't stop you from like hiring somebody in China to play the game for you. It's like, hey, log into my account and grind for me so that I can go.
That would be weird if back in the day, Enix had called me up and said, we know that your mom is playing Dragon Warrior while you're at school. That's a no-go, buddy. You want to play our game, you have to grind yourself. No make your mom do it. I can't stop her. What am I going to do? Take the game to school with me so she doesn't play while I'm gone? She's the one who bought it. Oh gosh. Gaming in 808s on YouTube says, I seem a bit under the weather. Yeah. I can't breathe. It kind of sucks. So, Blizzard never actually named the Honor Buddy bot, but a couple days later, actually the following day, the maker of the Honor Buddy bot looked at the 1,000 counts that got locked down and said, "Oh man, this looks like everybody was an Honor Buddy bot user." So
they figured us out.
Yeah, we've abort. So Honor Buddy bot is no longer supported, from what I understand. Although they'll probably do something different in the future. But do you think? Let me see. I think Kaganeka-sama doesn't like bots because they ruin the economy in most games. Do you think using bots in this? Yeah. Do you think using bots in this manner is a ban-worthy offense? I really don't.
I have a hard time. I have a hard time with this question, just because I sympathize with the bot users. Because I am an RPG fan and I hate grinding, but I hate MMOs, so I've never experienced the grind on an MMO. But it's my understanding that World of Warcraft doesn't really have an economy, so to speak. Because gold and silver is pretty much infinite.
Yeah, Diablo, but wow.
But World of Warcraft, sure. It's everything's gold and silver are infinite as far as I'm aware. You could just go and kill monsters and get gold and gold and gold and gold. But there is an auction house and stuff in World of Warcraft, so I guess it is possible that the more people using bots, the less you can sell rare items for, because people are grinding out those items using bots. But I think that's just kind of a nature of a game like this. It's without a fixed economy, there's really no way to fight that at all. Even with the absence of bots.
STL Creator says a good RPG should have a strong narrative to drive you to the point of your adventure, but be open enough to let you explore and do whatever without forcing the player to follow a certain path. The player should create a path, unfolding the narrative in a different way with each playthrough. Sure, that's ideal. Although there are very few full RPGs that I've played a second time. There's just too many darn games. Um,
I've played a number of RPGs, multiple times. Final Fantasy VI was one that I've played a number of times. Dragon Warrior 1 and 2 I've played at least, I think I've played Dragon Warrior 1 at least 3 times, Dragon Warrior 2 twice, and then Dragon Warrior 4 I've played twice, and 3 I've only played once just because I got that one after all the other ones.
yeah.
So and then Final Fantasy VI, Final Fantasy 4 I've played multiple times. But yeah, I've and these are just classic ones. I think my thing is if an RPG is going to make me, if it's going to take me more than 40 hours to beat,
Mhm.
I'm probably never going to play it more than once.
Yeah.
So that's one of the reasons why I like Symphony of the Night, is because it's a great game and I can beat it in like 6 to 8 hours.
Mhm.
And that's 100%. Well, actually, technically 200%ing the entire game. Because
Yeah.
there's 2 castles. But yeah,
It's interesting. I like lengthy games, but I think back to some of my favorite games, and they can be beaten in 8 hours.
Mhm.
So, if you go as far back as some of my favorite games on the earlier consoles, NES, Super NES, you can do them even faster if you know what you're doing.
Yeah, but I just beat Wild Arms last week, and or the week before, and I don't see myself playing that again. It took me about 30 hours to beat, which isn't too bad, but the game just wasn't as good of a game as I had wished it could have been. Maybe Wild Arms 2 and 3 are probably better, but it's just not a game that I can see myself going back to.
Yeah.
One, because it just does not hold up over time, at least not the battle system. But I, and that was something else I was thinking of too this week, was just, I was comparing PS1 RPGs and PS1 games, and just looking to see which ones hold up over time. And Final Fantasy VII is an absolutely horrible, ugly game nowadays. I look
Yeah.
back and it's just, the battles actually look good, for the most part, but the actual world and exploration is just horribly ugly. But then I look at Breath of Fire 3 or Suikoden, which I just started, and these are all done with 2D sprites and stuff, and they still look great today. And it's just like, why can't more games be like this?
Yeah. Viper says, I'm still bitter that Monster Hunter 4 isn't on Wii U. Yeah, me too, because I want to play it. And I just don't want to play it on the handheld. I tried the demo. I'm like, nope, just not where I want to play the game.
Yeah.
And let's see. Mark Loud on YouTube says 30 days of Netflix should turn into 60 days of Netflix. Oh, God. I'm
Okay,
on.
and now we have to grind signatures to get Dragon Quest 7 and 8 on 3DS. What does that mean?
I don't know.
Uh,
Is there a petition going around?
I don't know. I've got Dragon Quest 8 for the PlayStation 2. I haven't actually played it yet. So.
Dragon Quest 8, I think, I saw announced for the 3DS.
Yeah.
I don't know about 7, though. 7, I think, was. No, I think 7 might be the only game Nintendo consoles have never seen.
Yeah. Yeah, Viper says that, once you learn a game pretty well, you can beat it quickly. He says he can beat Mega Man 2 in 45 minutes now.
Yeah.
And the original Zelda, too, that's one of those games that, if you know what you're doing, you could beat it really quick because, it's, you know exactly where in the dungeons you need to go in order to get what you need to do. And it's like, I watched a speed run of it. Somebody beat it in like 30 minutes or so just because they knew exactly where they needed to go. And so that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Oh, I did beat Donkey Kong for the Game Boy, the one that came out in 1994. So I've been playing that, and I beat that.
Do you like it?
Oh yeah, I liked it quite a lot. There are a lot of levels in that game. Boy, I think there's over 100.
Uh-huh.
And,
but it was a great game when I played it.
Yeah, it was really good. I enjoyed it. So looking forward to Viper says Squeenix's release 7 and 8 in the 3DS in Japan, but there are no plans to release in US and Europe. Oh, okay. What was I saying? Oh, a game I really do want to start, and I may actually do it tonight as long as I'm not too busy, because I don't think I'm going to get an episode of 30 Days Netflix recorded tonight. Not feeling up to it. Luckily, I'm good through day 20.
Yeah.
I think, yeah. So I'm good through, what is that, Tuesday or Wednesday? Wednesday, so that's good. I want to start a Link to the Past because I have never. Goth Skunk comes in. Yeah, we're wrapping up, buddy. Sorry.
Yeah, we're pretty much done here. We're just kind of doing our end of the show ramble right now.
Yeah, and actually, I have to go because I'm on call. So I turn my phone back on. But so let's wrap this up.
All right.
Let's see. Andrew Eisen here. Eisen is how you spell the last name, which you'll need to know if you want to find me on social media. At Andrew Eisen, Twitter. Twitter's at Andrew Eisen. Facebook is Andrew Eisen YouTube. And just type my name into YouTube and you'll find all my videos. I'm currently doing a project called 30 Days of Netflix, where I use my free trial of Netflix to watch something new every single day. And today is day 16. And is today the day where I threw a hissy fit for not being able to see Age of Ultron? I think it is. Yeah, I tried to see Secret. The day 16, which airs today, was actually recorded last Sunday when I tried to go see Age of Ultron, and I couldn't because the AMC's website had the showtime wrong. So nice. I was all pissed off. And I said, "All right, screw this. I'm gonna." You
should have demanded a private screening at that time.
Seriously, but so I said, "All right, I'm gonna have a donut because I deserve it because I'm irritated." And I live right next to a donut shop, and I haven't had a donut since I think a Portland International Convention in 2012. So I went to Yum Yum Donuts.
Andre
Weisen, yeah. It does actually work like that, but no, it's Andrew Eisen. So I went to Yum Yum Donuts after first checking their menu online to make sure that they have the one donut I want, the Bavarian Cream Donut, which is a vanilla cream filled donut with chocolate icing. So I go over there, no Bavarian creams.
Yeah.
So needless to say, I did. So day 16's video is me. Yeah, just I am unhappy.
Yeah, see, I'm a I like Bavarian cream donuts, but I'm more of a fritter guy. Give me an apple or a cherry fritter, I'm set. Yeah.
And then while I was watching the movie, a friend of mine texted me, and I tried to reply, and it wouldn't work, which pissed me off because I was just texting my sister earlier. And then I realized that the texts weren't going through because my phone somehow had got onto airplane mode. And I don't know how that's even possible. So that just pissed me off even further. So I was even more of a foul mood. So,
oh man,
it's interesting because as I go through this series, I find interesting things to play up, like my bad temper, which I do have. I do have a real bad anger problem. My anger management skills are awesome. I manage that stuff really well, but the fact that I get so upset over little things is a problem in and of itself. Yeah. I had a thing where one of the upcoming episodes, I forget where it was, is one I do completely drenched because I got caught in a rainstorm. One I do is shaving cream all over my face because my water heater broke. And so I thought, what the hell, I'll just do the video with shaving cream on my face because I couldn't get any hot water. Just weird things like that end up in the videos that kind of make the series fun. So
I liked your forget the movie now, but a chef, where you came back and you just had your Casio out.
Oh yeah. The day, I don't remember what day that was, but I was watching the movie and a lot of places the soundtrack was overpowering the dialogue. I couldn't hear the dialogue. So I just got the idea. So for the second half of the video, I dragged out my keyboard and I started playing something. I just started talking like that. And it's like, can't hear me over the music, can you? So, and What's funny is a few days earlier I had done the grand piano review, and I had mentioned that I can't talk and play at the same time. So in that sequence, really what I'm saying is blah 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 blah. I'm not actually saying anything. I do loop dialogue from later in the video under that, so you can actually kind of hear words. So it's
Yeah.
faked because I really can't. I'm not that great of a pianist. I need to concentrate on what I'm doing. I can't hold on a separate conversation. I can, if what I'm playing has a song, I can sing it, but I can't talk about something else while playing something. I'm not that
Yeah.
great. So anyway, 30 days of Netflix. Something I'm doing on YouTube. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Zachary, plug away.
All right, you can follow me on Twitter at Easy Night, and you can also check out my game development work, Divine or DK_gaming and DivineKnightGaming.com. We're currently, my brother and I are currently in the process of making video games. Hoping to have some stuff sometime soon to show off. And then, if you're interested in the Oklahoma game development scene, you can check out OK Game Devs on Twitter, and it's okgamedev.com. And, just personal note, I'm getting ready to, I started playing Suikoden on the PS1, and so I'll probably have more to talk about next week when I actually get around to playing more than 45 minutes of it. But well, hopefully I'll have something to say about it next week because I hear it's a great game. So
Awesome. All right. We are done. So thank you everybody for keeping us company and putting up with my stuffiness. You've been listening to episode 143 of Super Podcast Action Committee. We stream every Saturday night on Game Politics at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. Want to send us email? Well, you can do so at superpackpodcast@gmail.com. Follow us on Twitter at superpackpodcast. Like us on Facebook. And once we get back on the iTunes, which I don't know when that will be, you can subscribe and rate us there too. I think we're current up to February, but since we're off of Libsyn, we don't have a place to put them. We're still looking into things because we have a very restricted budget right now. So, all right. Thank you all. We'll see you next week. Take care.
all right, see ya.